This is WJOU 90.1 FM Huntsville, serving the Tennessee Valley, a broadcast service of Oakwood University, on the web at wjou.org.
Good afternoon and welcome to Second Chance. Second Chance is a weekly talk show that examines a wide range of social issues and seeks to inspire physical, emotional, social, and spiritual healing, believing that God is a God of second chances, and through faith, all things are possible. Second Chance airs live each week from the beautiful campus of Oakwood University and features real people with real issues and offers real answers. And now, here's your host, Kenneth Anderson.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Second Chance radio broadcast. I'm Kenny Anderson. It's always delighted to be here with you in the studio for the broadcast. I say the studio, but you might be looking around saying, that's not the studio. It's really the wonder of technology that allows us to be able to do these things wherever we are and whenever we choose to. So that, of course, is the beauty of technology, and I'm absolutely embracing it, even though I expect to be back in the studio at some point in the very near future. It is, of course, the second week of the brand new year, which is not so brand new anymore. It's Sunday, January the 11th. And so we're already 11 full days into the brand new year. And I hope that you are still doing well in this space. I did not want to miss the opportunity to share condolences to a couple of families that are dealing with loss right now. The mother of my good friend, Dr. James Gilbert, lost his mother this past week, and she was 97 years old. Love Mother Gilbert, and she was a good friend to our family. Want to share our condolences in this space. Also, the mother of good friends of ours, Scott and Tanya Laughinghouse, Plummer Laughinghouse, Linda Plummer, mother of Tanya, passed, and of course, EJ and other family members. Want to make sure we extend our condolences to that family in their period of transition and reflection. And of course, to everyone else out there, because I know there are a lot of people who are dealing with loss right now. I think about my good friend Nadine Washington, who lost her son recently. I want to extend my condolences to every single person that I know and am connected with, because I know it is not easy to deal with, but we are praying for you. We are wishing you the best. And my prayers, my personal prayers are always that God's grace and his mercy and his love will overtake you through the love, grace, and mercy of those around you. We also want to remind those that are listening this afternoon on the radio at 90.1 FM that we're happy to have you here today. We also want to let those know on the internet at wjou.org that we're happy to have you here today, because that means you could be listening anywhere around the nation and perhaps even anywhere around the world today. But as a group of people that are ever increasing, and that's that group of people who are tuning into the live stream on Praise 90.1 FM on both YouTube as well as Facebook, where you get to actually see what's going on in terms of our conversations. And of course, you can pick up a lot of input from our chat box. You can also throw your questions and comments in there as well. We love for you to engage with us during this time. And a big shout out and thank you to every single person who tells me from time to time that they listen to the broadcast. I was just in Costco a couple of days ago, and I was headed down one aisle, and I saw a friend of mine, and they said, I'm still listening to the broadcast. That means so much to me to know that after 35 years, people are still listening to this broadcast. And I truly believe that we're getting better and better every time we come on the air as a result of the unique program that we provide and the awesome guests who bring all kinds of great insight and information and perspective about a lot of different things. We launched several years ago a series of quarterly sessions where we have a group of individuals come on once a quarter to share information and updates about things that are going on in their space. One of those segments is called Drake State Presents Perspectives in higher education. And I'm always thrilled and honored to have this segment as part of the broadcast. And I'm always honored to have someone who has been here just as many times as I can even imagine, missed just a few times when she kind of passed the baton to other people. But Dr. Patricia Sims, she's right here once again leading the pack, and she's my favorite higher education administrator. Yeah. Don't tell anybody else that, Dr. Sims, because they may look at me in a strange kind of way.
Happy New Year, Kenny. Wow. Happy New Year, 2026. Congratulations on 35 years.
Well, 35. But listen, it's just been an amazing journey. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And, you know, the fact that you can come on the show, you can share perspectives on higher education through what's been happening at Drake on the ground. You can be such a powerful influencer in this community, in the area of education and so many other places, workforce development and more, that it's just an honor to have you here. You all have elevated my platform because people tune in specifically to hear what's happening over at Drake. And we know you guys have always got something good going on.
Yeah, and this year is no different. I am extremely excited about all that's to come in 2026. So thank you. Thank you again. It's going to be an amazing year all around for sure.
It is. 11 days in, I'm telling you, we've already hit the ground running, and it's only going to get better and better because you brought a very special guest on today. I've actually seen him wear a different hat in the past, but he's wearing a new hat now, and I'm excited about that. Yeah. He's none other than Doug Brazier. Doug is the Dean of Workforce Development at Drake State Community and Technical College. My brother, what is going on, Doug?
It's been too long. It has been way too long. I'm glad to be back, Kenny. Thank you so much for having me. And I heard you say that Dr. Sims was your favorite higher ed administrator. I'm gonna let this slide because she's my favorite too.
That's it. And guys, this is for free. I'm not paying them. I know what the audience is thinking. I'm not. Sure.
Well, listen, it's only because you're doing so many wonderful things in so many wonderful areas with a heart of gold and a passion for students and progress and purpose. And we know that and we see that because, Dr. Sims, I say something about leaders all the time. Leaders don't give directions. They don't just give orders, but they show up and they show up consistently. And that's exactly what you do. You show up. I've literally seen you show up and stay from beginning to end. I know you're very busy, but I've seen you show up and stay and engage and participate. And that's what this community and so many other communities love about you.
Well, thank you. I love this community, and I just love the opportunity to be in this space because especially this year, as we have this conversation, really excited about the things that are to come and the opportunities. And so as we're thinking about our conversation today, I'm really excited because it's all about jumpstarting for 2026 and just really want to dig into the opportunities that through workforce development that we can provide for people in our community to expand job opportunities, to increase their economic mobility. So there are lots of opportunities, and I'm just excited to be in a position and to have Dean Brazier with us so that we can really connect the people in our community to the opportunities that exist. As we continue to grow, you see it, everybody hears it on the news. There's always a new company coming. There's always new things happening. And with that, there are new opportunities. So I'm excited about it.
Well, you know, I'm going to take a little MC, host, producer license here, and I'm going to own a little bit of Doug's progress through the academic ranks. I know that this is a promotion, and I'm just going to take us back for a minute, Doug, because I remember a conversation with your brother Mike many years ago at a potluck dinner on a Saturday afternoon in Tennessee with some good friends, and it was as benign an experience as possible. And your name came up in that conversation as having an interest in education, higher education. And, you know, I don't always have an answer, but I try to connect, I try to engage, I try to expand the opportunities and possibilities for people to think about what might happen. And Doug, I can't say enough about the fact that I'm so proud of you and what you've done over the years in terms of your deep investment in students. It's never been about you. It's always been about what you can do and how you can show up for students in order to make their progress successful. And you've done an outstanding job of that. And so I just look forward to seeing you in this new season as well.
Well, I appreciate that, Kenny. You know, God puts things in our way, people, situations, and we have to have our head up and look for them, right? And you were looking that day when you talked to Mike, and I came to talk to you to talk a little bit about you. You know, a lot of people talk about it's not what you know or who you know, but the big thing about it is who knows you and who takes time to know you. And you took time to know me that day and helped me get a foothold, set me up to go talk to somebody to allow me to get into education. You know, prayer every day is to use the platform to affect positive change in the world, right? And so that's what we're able to do. And I was able to do it for many years, previous place, and now I'm blessed to be able to do it with Dr. Sims here at Drake. So
Yeah.
it's been a great journey.
Listen, I'm excited. And, you know, we talk about, Dr. Sims referenced this a few moments ago, job jumpstart. And we talk about this time of year being a season of renewal and restarting and resetting. So I, too, am excited to hear about what's in store for you all this year. Drake, tell me a little bit, just kind of so we can kind of jumpstart our conversation about this, about what kinds of things are we looking forward to seeing perhaps in the next semester and over the next year?
Well, you know, I'm sorry, Dr. Sims, you go first. I was going to jump in there right in with the work.
He's ready. He is very high level because Doug does have, he has all the details, but just on a high level, we're really focusing on alignment, Kenny. That's our for the college. That's where we're focused this year. And when I say that, just really tuning into the needs of industry in our community and making certain, ensuring that the programs and the trainings, the opportunities that we are offering align so that we can better serve, we can position ourselves to better serve this community. And that's why I'm so excited to have this opportunity. So thank you for continuing to invite us on to share this message, this platform. You say that the community loves me. No, the community loves Kenny Anderson and all things Kenny Anderson. So thank you for this opportunity. And I'm so excited to have Dean Brazier on because he, as you said, he's deeply invested in this community, knows every crack and crevice. And so he knows, and I'm learning a lot from him, but he is really boots on the ground doing the work. So I want him to talk about some of the opportunities that are coming down the pipe for us.
Yeah, and just before you do that, Dean, I want to build a bridge between what you have to share and something that Dr. Sims just said. This word alignment to me is such a critical word in terms of how you as a leader and other higher education leaders should approach the space of leadership of a higher education institution. You know, it's one thing to be an institution of higher education that offers degrees and opportunities, but are they aligned with what's happening in the community? Are they aligned with what is changing, what is evolving, what is developing in the community? Is it aware or sensitive to the trends that are taking place? And is it connected to the voices of those people in those particular industries? And I would imagine a lot of what I just shared kind of wraps up into what you're referring to about how this alignment, this powerful mechanism at the nucleus of what you're trying to do, is able to move the college forward in a very powerful way. So, Doug, tell me about what you're doing.
Listen, I'm still listening to you. What a great just subject you were talking about there. All right, so on my side, Kenny, is the non-credit. Okay, so this is short-term classes where you don't really have to enroll in the college. You don't have to come to Drake and take the classes, but you're not enrolled in the college. Anybody can just take these classes. But what the beauty of it is we've aligned them to where we can transfer those into a credit class. So they can get college credit. We can PLA that into it once they've taken these short-term classes. We're just kind of the first rung on the ladder for somebody who's maybe looking for a job or career change. And I'm hoping I'm articulating that well enough. So what we look at is, listening to the needs of the community. And what we're really kind of focused on in the beginning was some of these entry-level positions into just technical fields, right? So whether that's healthcare or construction or you name it, it's all technical fields. So we have we're having our CNA class, right? It's always a big one, the caregivers. People do that. One of the most least paid but most critical people we have out there are the CNAs at the nursing homes and the nurse techs that are helping people in the hospital. And that's a certain skill that you got to have to get into that, right? So we got an 8-week program for that. We'll have another one starting up here in February and March. We did our first one at the end of last year, great success. We have clinical medical assistants, CNA. There's a CNA, which is nursing homes thing, that the medical assistant is a step above that. That's the first person you see in the doctor's office. They take your blood pressure, your vitals, those type things. And they have a little bit better hours. They're working in the doctor's office. So they're not working at midnight on Christmas Eve or Christmas morning. My wife had to this year, in the hospital. So that's a good one that we're starting. Also, on the technical side, we're getting ready to kick off our second work-ready welding class. So this is an 8-week class that they learn structural and we'll call it plant-type welding, right? So they can work at a Polaris, they can work at a Wiregrass or Rogers Group construction. These things have been vetted by industry. They get a basic welding certification after about 8 weeks, and they can go get a job making about $20 an hour. So we're excited about that. That one's coming up. We're also have just created Intro to Service Plumbing. That's an 11-week class. It's a dire need for plumbers in this growing community that we have. There's just not enough plumbers out there. And we're going to have them, they take this class, they're going to get a free $250 set of tools to help them get started in it. It's 11 weeks. And they should be able to walk out there with a job about the $20 an hour range. So these are things that are happening right now that we're enrolling for right now that you can get started. And we've got so much in the pipeline. I could go on. I made notes. I made copious notes so I didn't forget anything here.
Well, Doug, let me jump in there for 1 second, because you just touched a nerve, because you said plumbers and the need for plumbers. And I think about what a noble profession that is. Because the last plumber that came to my house spent an hour and a half of my house. And when I asked him how much was that, he said $225. I paid it. He went on to the next job. He probably did that 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times that day. And I'm just doing the math. I'm like, wait a minute. People oftentimes look past the opportunity that sits right in front of them for whatever reason. Maybe it's the perception that they have of something. Maybe it's the misinterpretation of something, the miscommunication of something, or not being exposed to something. And I keep pointing people towards the community college, technical college arena. There are so many great opportunities here to anchor one's life and to be able to provide a good living for oneself and one's family. And the kind of things you're saying right now gets me really excited, because you sit as a jewel right here in this community, prepared to provide those opportunities. Dr. Sims, I wanted to ask you this question. It's interesting to me because you guys really are developing a lot of different things all at the same time in a measured approach. It's not a haphazard thing. It's a very strategic process. But I would imagine that some of these things come to your attention from the folk on the ground, like Doug, who are out there in the community and learning different things. But I'm sure a lot of it comes to you as well as people who are trying to connect with you at the college level, at the president's level, to say, hey, here's something we want to look at. And then you may say, well, you need to talk to so-and-so. Am I right about that? Because it seems like there would have to be some type of conversation, even at your level, that's going on, where people are saying, here's some things we want to explore.
Absolutely, Ken. And that's one of the great things about being engaged in the community at all different levels, is that you get the opportunity to learn what's happening, who's coming, and what the needs are. And so I really purposely, I want to just go back and circle back on something Dean Brazier said, just to drive it home. This is really all of the opportunities that he mentioned are just as he described them, as we talked about them, opportunities to jump start a career. And that, just to make sure people are tracking, for instance, all research now says the quickest path to financial independence and generational wealth is owning your own business.
Mm.
And in order to do that, you need to provide a service that people need. And many of the careers that we're talking about, these are careers that are secure from AI. You need people to take, you want people to take and making sure they're giving you your shots and taking blood, taking your blood, your vitals. You need people to plumb, to do plumb. So as we're thinking about this, you start, you learn a trade, you learn the skill, and the goal then could be for you to take business classes, start your own business. It could be to earn a degree, to go and work in an established business, but it has to start. It has to start. And so this is an opportunity. We are creating, in alignment with the needs of business and industry in our community, opportunities to jumpstart. Industries are looking for skilled labor. I mean, the demand is out the roof. And so we are intentional. You're very correct in that the programs that we add and the trainings we provide are intentional. They are designed and they lead directly to meaningful and gainful employment. And that is the goal.
Dean Brazier, you guys are doing a great job of inspiring people this afternoon and giving them a sense of the vision. Talk for a few moments about the opportunity for people who are listening this afternoon who are kind of saying, well, that sounds interesting. Where do I start? So what would they do first in terms of maybe engaging you and the institution and finding out more about what these opportunities are?
Well, they can find us on the Drake State website at drakestate.edu /workforce-development. So everything we've got that we're offering is on that page. They could scan in there. There's opportunities for scholarships that they could get to have these classes for free. You know, it's like we were talking about, like you mentioned, like Dr. Sims mentioned, it's skilled labor. If you have a skill that is, maybe it's only 8 weeks long of the skill that you learned, or it's 11 weeks for the plumbing. Any skill that you have is setting you apart from other people. It's just pushing you up that queue, pushing you up into higher earnings, a definite foothold on that ladder to keep climbing. It's not a be all end all, right? There's a lot of places around where you can go and I can work here or there, make $20 an hour and start there, but 8 years from now, you'll probably still be making that. Something like what we're talking about is you build that skill and you're just going to go up. We're giving you that entry and you're just going to continue to climb. And that's what we're looking to do. So,
yeah, I think about the analogy of the jump start, the metaphor of jump starting one's career, very much like jump starting your car. And if you drive long enough, you probably have had the experience of having to have your car get jumped. You know, that moment in which there was this sort of deflation in what you felt because you were stuck. And then suddenly you got that person to come alongside you and jumpstart your car. I kind of see this as a similar kind of way. There are people out there feeling maybe perhaps deflated. They feel defeated in some instances. They feel kind of lost. They don't have the right direction. They don't feel they have the support. And it sounds like this would be a tremendous time for somebody listening out there to take that start, to jump their life and move themselves into a position of potential success. Isn't that right, Dean?
that's exactly right. You know, in the programs we started, it's not going to be limited to welding and plumbing. We're working hard on entry electrician, entry HVAC, but it's not just the technical trades either. You know, there's professionals out there who need to jumpstart their career. We're having a project management certification training class. In person, those are hard to find. You can find them online anywhere. That's coming up very soon, toward the end of January. So that PMP certification is big for those who are maybe already in the workforce in a mid-level management type position and need upskill. So we're trying to focus on everybody from the beginning, from changing careers to people who are already working and trying to help them get a leg up. Any of these type things that we're trying to lay it out intentionally, like you said, to be able to jumpstart those folks into the next level.
So the website, drakestate.edu, is a starting point. Can they come see you? Can they call you? Can they do that as well?
Oh, they can come by here anytime. We're in the brand new Lighthouse Workforce Building, right as you're coming down Meridian Street past Martin Luther King Elementary on the right. We're the very first building on campus on the left, and we sit down here in the admin suite, which, you know, that sounds big, but it's just the office area right here. It's just the last office on the left. Just come in and we'll give them all the information they need. Or they go to drakestate.edu, and I'm looking at it here, /workforce-development. And we will take care of it. Listen, we're all about helping people, changing their lives, giving them a hope. Basically, that's what we're here in the education business. And I don't like to tell Dr. Sims this or you, we're in the hope business for everybody, because people are trying to get an education or trying to change their life for a reason. They're trying to find a new skill so they can do something different.
Yeah, and Dr. Sims, that's right. Dr. Sims, I know we've got maybe 2.5 minutes left, but I know one of the reasons that you've invested so much in restructuring the campus and the design of the campus so that as people drive up and down Drake, they don't Meridian, they don't think it's an antiquated group of buildings, but it's a very modern experience that people come across. And if they get a chance to venture into places like the Advanced Technology Building, they say, wow, you know, some really cool stuff is happening here. And I really think that a big part of that kind of works with people. And that's why I'm kind of mentioning, can people come see you? Because sometimes the jump is insane. It's like, oh, wait a minute. You know, I had this one idea about something, but it's not that, it's this. And so they get a chance to talk to somebody, they get a chance to see things and opportunities that exist. And I think that's such a powerful thing that people can experience. So again, kudos to you for what you've done to advance the college in terms of its structural look and its programming and more. And of course, getting some of the finest staff members. I mean, you got Doug Brazier on board over there.
I know, right, Kenny? I know. Let me tell you, right? I'm so excited to have him on the team. And Kenny, just really, we are open. We invite. We are for the community. I always say we're not just in the community. We're a part of this community, and so we welcome people, because I guarantee. I tell everyone, you can find a place at Drake, where no matter where you are on this journey, whether it's high school, right after high school, early in your career, you can upskill, wanting to start a career. I mean, there's a place for you here. And so we invite our community to come come see what we're doing, come meet the team. And so I'm really excited about the possibilities. 2026 is going to be amazing for all of us. It's going to be a great year.
I know it is, Dr. Sims. I so appreciate you investing in this space that we provided for you to come and talk and share. You always show up and you always have great information. So thank you for doing that one more time today.
Absolutely. And again, thank you for having us. And in addition to the website, we're on check us out on social media. We're all over the place. So you can connect with us at Drake State.
Yeah, you guys are busy on social media, because I see the posts all the time, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. You guys are out there doing it, and you're letting people know about what's happening. Dean Brazier, I look forward to you doing great things in this particular space, even perhaps greater than you've done in the past in the higher education space. Dean of Workforce Development at the great Drake State Community and Technical College. I look forward to additional conversation with you and also visiting you on the campus.
Yes, sir. You come by anytime. You're overdue for that visit. If I remember correctly, we're overdue to get together. So
that's right.
And just like you said, if anybody wants to come by and walk around, we'll show them around. If I'm here, I'll take it myself. Dr. Sims keeps me running, but if I'm here on campus, I'll run myself, and we'll talk. We'll sit down and talk and figure out what they want to do. Absolutely.
Doug, Dr. Sims, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We'll talk again soon.
Look forward to it. Thank you, Kenny.
All right, take care. Great way to start our broadcast off this afternoon. We're going to keep the ball rolling after a great conversation with Dr. Patricia Sims and Dean Doug Brazier, the Dean of Workforce Development at Drake State Community and Technical College. My good friend Daniel Kasambira is in the house right now, and we could talk for hours. So I figured I'd get him in as quickly as possible. My brother, what is going on?
Not much, Kenny. I appreciate you having me. I didn't realize Doug's a big shot dean now. You know, it's exciting for him, man, you know?
I know we gotta jab him a little bit on that, right?
Yeah, exactly. We're moving on up in this world. So
I know, man. Proud of my brother.
Vision for Doug and for Dr. Sims, who always makes great hires and does great things in our community. So we got a great place, and good to see people work along together. And some.
That's right. Well, for those that don't know, Daniel is the CEO, president of the United Way of Madison County. He's been on our broadcast before. He's a friend of the broadcast, and I'm always delighted to have him. This is the very first year, the first quarterly session of the new year, and he's here for that conversation. I think, once again, that says something about leadership, folks. We have the people in the most significant roles in some instances in terms of the corporate structure of the organization, even though both Daniel and I have that servant leader heart mindset. So we don't just place leaders at the top and say, oh, look at me. Daniel's not that guy. He certainly is mindful. He is engaged, and he's also very aware and sensitive about the total organization as well as the community. Daniel, it's just great to have you. Happy New Year. I haven't had a chance to tell you that other than maybe in a text, but Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year as well, Kenny. Wouldn't want to start the new year any other way than could connect with you and see if we do some great things this upcoming 2026. Can't believe it, man.
I've asked several people, this is January 11th. We're already moving forward through the new year, already cutting through the first month. Yes. We'll be talking about graduation season, and then summer vacation, and then start of school year again. I mean, before you know it, that's the seasons of life. They're compacted into like 4 weeks now. That's the way it feels. But what does the transition from one year to the next mean to you?
Well, it means a lot. First of all, just to see the great work that our team has done over the past year has just been significant. Usually, what we do is we take the last about eight days off of the month, and in December and into the first week of January, just to recharge, re-energize ourselves, and get ready for the work. And we're fortunate because we've got a great team here that believe in what we're doing, and for all of us to unplug is a pretty big deal. And our staff, we never stop working because we get calls, texts, all different times, but we just know that it's been good for us, and we're really excited about this upcoming year because April 11th will be going to year 4 for me, Kenny. I can't believe time flying like this. And for the past 3 years, we've operated under the standard, which was our strategic plan, and just focused on us getting stabilized, doing new initiatives, and kind of regrouping, reorganizing our organization to moving us into a different direction. And now we just got approval in the end of December from our board for our next phase of next 3 years called the game plan, in which our organization is going to really look at things strategically. We operate based on not so playing chess, but checkers. That's kind of our sign, and we do things strategic. So we're excited about what this will bring. It's been a great process walking through with our strategic planning committee with board volunteers as well as staff members, and then get a final board approval. So we're looking forward to doing some big things coming up for the next 3 years.
Well, it sounds awesome. And of course, there may be some things you can't talk about. So I want to talk about this anecdotally in one sense about strategic planning, but then looking back over the last 3 years, as a CEO and president of an organization, you came in at a time where you had the chance to be there for the strategic plan. And a lot of people listening this afternoon, both here, around the nation, around the world, run nonprofits and other kinds of things. And some people do strategic planning, some people don't. Some organizations thrive and some don't. Some barely survive and others do quite well. And for me, so much of that has to do with how the leadership approaches a strategic plan. Because again, if you don't plan to succeed, you're probably planning to fail.
Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about what the journey has been like, just generally for you at the helm of this organization and that strategic planning process.
Well, one of the things I've kind of learned over years that you can't beat people's heads and beat people in submission in order to get some things done. So having an open process in which we get our board volunteers to give their feedback, give ideas, talk about what the organization will look like in the future, and then getting our staff team together and then bringing them combined to say, hey, this is what we're looking like, to make sure we're all on the same page. But also what it does is positions us to say, these aren't just things that we keep on the shelf that we look back 3 years from now, but utilize this information to drive our performance reviews, use information to make sure that we stay on task and focused, because there's so many great things happening, and you can get distracted by doing a lot of different things, but this keeps us on pace to where we need to be. And one of the things, this is our second time I've led our board of staff through this process, and to hear our board say, hey, listen, we need to invest more money into marketing the organization, invest more money into really giving us more visibility and really deepen donors' experiences. And just hearing that type of feedback is phenomenal, because Kenny, you're retired now. But with me, we have a vested interest in this. They pay me and pay us to do this work. But to hear from volunteers to say, hey, we want to invest, we want to make sure we invest our time, our talent, treasure to make these things happen. It's been an exciting process, and we're looking forward, and we'll share it on our website and everything like that, so people can see kind of what the plans are. One of the things that I want to make sure we've done over this time period is just be transparent and say, this is some things we're doing, these things we can and cannot do, but we want to make sure, because we want to make people understand that we are a relevant organization. We are an organization that is believing in the greater good for the future, and we're willing to partner and collaborate on different things in our community.
A lot of organizations approach the strategic planning process by getting a consultant that they pay. Some people work from within to do it and develop a leadership team. Sometimes it's a delegated responsibility for one person. In your experience, have you found a preference for any approach, or does each one perhaps have its own upside? Of course, it's going to have some downsides as well, but.
Well, it's a lot cheaper because they don't pay me to do it. So that's one thing. That's this upside or downside.
You can stop right there, right?
Exactly. No, but I think with where we're at as an organization, I believe that I needed to kind of lead this process to really kind of move us to where we needed to be. Who knows, and over next one to get it outside, it's always going to have an outside voice to kind of look at things from a different perspective. And so probably reaching out to you, Kenny, to lead the process. But we need to have a different voice. People understand they're invested in what we're doing to really be. But I thought over the first two processes that I would lead and drive the process, because I understand that this is where we need to be, and going to get an effort to really move us forward. So either way works well. I just think right now, at the time in this place organization, I need to lead it.
I think a lot of that too. This is fascinating to me because, of course, I know you, and of course, I've been immersed in the United Way space for so many years now, and have watched you and other leaders in other organizations as well. But what you're specifically saying is fascinating to me, because I think it speaks so much to who you are again as a person, that your investment goes well beyond the title. Your investment goes deep down into understanding what's going on, and then sharing that space in a way so that people feel empowered to come and to speak up and to share and to lend their skills and talents and gifts. And personally, Daniel, I think that's an extraordinary approach. I also think it's an extraordinary gift that you've been given to be able to do that, to have that desire, and then be able to move into that space in such a very powerful way.
Yeah, one thing I've learned is to listen to folks and allow people to have a voice. Because I don't have all the answers. I don't have direction, but when people buy into the process and buy into what we're doing, it works more favorably as far as them following through with things. We got a lot of experienced people here at our organization who are doing some good things. And to see our group, which we have some people who've been up, Doug Brazier has been here 37 years as CFO. And then you have like Brandon Gaddis and Juanita Gonzalez, who are new to the organization. And then you have, in between, you have Kathy Miller, who's been here 15 years. And we got a good mix of people that are all embedded and have all the things to offer. And it's not an old, let's say, a veteran group saying, "Hey, you need to do things this way," but everyone's open to things, and it's been pretty neat to see this happen, and then to get the board voice. You have like a Ryan Potito who's been around the organization for a very long, for several years and has his experience. But then we also had some other people that are new to the board that have had a voice, and it's just to see and have people lead from a position of strength, but also a position of wanting the best for the organization. So it's been really the process has been really a fun process, but it really gets my juices flowing as far as us understanding that it's not about us as an organization, but it's what can we do to better serve the community.
Yeah, this United Way, of course, has some tremendous corporate support from communities out there in Madison County, and I just would be remiss if I didn't give this moment and this opportunity to just celebrate that, because to me, I'm still awestruck when I think about corporate partners like Publix.
Yes.
And, I'll start there, but of course there's others. But my goodness,
National Federal Credit Union. You have Huntsville Hospital. You have a Regions Bank, which are the top five, and you have some that are, like a place like Service First that have been 100% donors for years, and I think over Andy Cato's entire time, which now he's retired officially. Yep. And then you have like Bryant Bank, same thing, and First Horizon, and you have a lot of places that say we believe in what the organization is doing. We want to invest and make a difference. And people now are usually the campaign cycles. People run campaigns usually a certain time, but you got a place like a Redstone Federal Credit Union who basically year round they're doing things like bake sales. They're doing things like just getting they have committees that they have established to really make sure the campaign is done, and for them to increase as much as they did over this past year and to maintain that. And we're just grateful. And, of course, Publix is going to be a mainstay, and we're grateful for them. 29% of our campaign is Publix. So I always tell people we got to support them. And because I'm glad you said that. I used to, I remember when I first learned that, I would kind of ease into that conversation because I really didn't know. And I'd hear people say, Publix prices are high, and they'd say all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, look, I drive across town to go to a Publix because I know what they do for this community. Yeah. And I think it's important for people to know that this is not a company that just sits out there in order to make profit. Yes. This is a company that is taking a total interest in the campaign. They're not just writing guys a check, but they're actually involved on the board. They're involved in the campaign. They're involved in from higher level administrators to baggers. And when you come to a Publix line, I always say, think about the fact that bagger might be $1,000 a year donor. Yes, we get about I think there's 700. We have over 700 leadership donors at Publix. There's over, I think, 350, 400 leadership donors. 80% of them are people who are baggers. Baggers are below. Aren't people who you expect to give. So that's significant. People believe enough into our organization. And what I love about Publix as well is they don't just come into community just for United Way. As you know, they do things from Manor House. Yes. They do things for different canned food drives. They have a lot of things they do outside of United Way organization agency, but they want to make a difference in their communities that they're part of. And we're fortunate to have Ben Robb on our board. He just rolled off, but they have another up and coming person that's coming, Krista. She's going to be on the board now. And so to see those type of things happen and them believe enough into organization to say, hey, we're a part of what's going on. It's amazing. It's amazing. It is just absolutely astounding. And since we're talking about campaign, and there may be companies out there listening that are celebrating the fact that we're doing that because they are involved, there may be companies that are not involved and they're kind of curious and they want to know, how do they get involved, or what is that process? Well, we want to reach out to us directly. I always give my number 256-468-1801. They reach out directly. It's funny, over the holidays, I had a couple of people send me emails. Hey, we're a new company in our community. What can we do to get involved? And people will say, well, you got to have a campaign. That's very, very important. but people want to be involved with volunteer. You know, we have companies, organization wants to get involved with me this Thursday with a company that says, hey, we want to get involved volunteer because I understand the great work we're going to be doing. So we're able to really get connected to the volunteer center. We're able to get them involved with their campaign. And so there's different ways that people can just be a part of what's going on. So just reaching out to us directly. We do a lot of the heavy lifting so we can put you in a position where you'll be successful. I got a great people with Sherry Pentecost and Lenny Creasy who are resource development, who do great work, and they'll basically walk you through the process. It's just amazing what they do.
Yeah, you've mentioned your staff several times, and you've done it, I think, in the most appropriate way in terms of celebrating what they bring to the table. And I'm sure that there are times you I hope you do, just sit back and just pinch yourself and say, you know, what happened that I got such an amazing group of people, other than the fact that, you know, I went through a process, but you really have an amazing staff, Daniel. And I know that you're one who values that. Every CEO does not value that. But one thing I watch you do is that you really let people blossom in their gardens.
Yes.
You know, you provide some water and some fertilizer, a little sunshine, and do various things that you do, and they grow and they thrive and they have such a profound impact on the community.
You can't teach, you know, a lot of times you can't teach people to care. I'm fortunate that our people love our community, and they love the work that they're doing and do things. Even if I wasn't around, you know, I was out, as you know, Kenny, for 6 weeks. With my open triple bypass open heart surgery back in May. And, you know, our organization thrived during that time because they just did the work. They want to make sure that the organization did well. And that's what you ideally you want, the people that believe enough in what you're doing, that they're going to carry on the work, regardless of who's in leadership. And I'm grateful for people that continue to serve and make a difference in our community on a daily basis. Now, one thing I appreciate about them as well is because in leadership, you got to be direct sometimes. So there's things that when we don't meet expectations, that I have a conversation with them, a direct conversation, and it's not always the most comfortable conversation, but we have it. But after 5 minutes, we have this conversation. After it's done, we move forward from there, and I don't hold those things and don't harbor those things. And it's because I understand that I'd be doing our organization and our community a disservice if I didn't address those things. But our people, I'll go to war with them any day, because I know that they care about what we're doing, and they want to make it, and they work hard to make a difference in our community.
Yeah, I'm sure you're constrained by your ability to hire more people, but I'm sure you'd have people breaking on the doors to work for this organization, because I really think you're one of the best organizations to work for in this community, not just because of the culture that you cultivate and nurture, but also because of the work that's done in this community on behalf of so many people. And of course, you all did a needs assessment last year. That needs assessment aligned with the voices of the community. It wasn't the United Way telling the community what it needed. It was the community telling United Way what we need. And so now, as you're working through that process as well, you also have an additional opportunity to gain momentum in terms of the impact, the community impact that you have on the city, but in this county, but also through the volunteers that are out there and the people that just want to be a part of this organization.
Yes, Kathy Miller did a great job leading our organization through this community assessment. I think this is the third time leading the organization through this, and just did a fantastic job. We were fortunate, Alabama A&M, the research department, led the way with Dr. Wims and just invested so much into what we were doing. And it was just exciting to see this results. And hearing, as you said, hearing from the community, over 1,100 voices of people who gave the surveys back, over 15 different task groups. And what people don't understand is we have these focus groups. And I believe you facilitated one, I believe, Kenny. And we had that, and we did it in Spanish. We had people like Harry Hobbs, and I think Doc Rock did one. And we had multiple people in the communities that give over the time to facilitate these focus groups to get true feedback from our community of what needs to happen. And so it takes the out of our hands. We were able to get the report, and people, and this is a gift to the community. We give this community, say, there's information this was come out from this. Utilize it for your best good. If you need it for grants, if you need it for just informational purposes. And we this is something we'll continue to do no matter how long. I know not long time I'm here, but we'll continue to do this because we believe that's a gift for the community and we can utilize this information.
United Way is a 501c3. It is a highly functioning 501c3 because of its impact. And people can literally make contributions to this organization in a variety of different ways. We talked a little bit about the volunteering. We talked a little bit about some of the advisory boards and councils that are part of the process, but people can literally make donations to the organization. And what are the various ways that they might consider doing something like that?
Well, of course, we take checks if people want to write a check to United Way. We've kind of gotten now into the 21st century. We started it last year, and we have harness giving sites so you donate online. You actually go onto our website and click a button, and it'll take you to, if you want to do greatest needs, if you want to donate directly to like a place like Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, which now over the 2-year period, Lindy Creasy's been leading this effort. We've gone from 523 children getting a book a month to now we're close to 9,500 children getting a book a month. And that's over a 2-year process, and the work that she's done to lead this effort it's exciting. Because we're able to really make a difference in that area. You can give to our college and career department, which Brandon Gaddis and Juanita Gonzalez are actively involved, working with Huntsville City Schools and Lee and Columbia, in which they're doing work with young people 14 to 18 years old, and also with 18 to 60-year-olds, working with data analytics and cybersecurity, and give people the workforce direction to doing work in that area. So there's so many opportunities to be able to give and be a part of what's going on here. Or if they will give directly to our greatest need, there's so many people out here that need things in our community, and we're accountable for what we do. And we, like I said, we have an open book. We believe that when people donate to the organization, that we put it into good hands, and we make sure things happen the right way.
A couple of years ago, you all launched an amazing fundraiser called Designer Bag Bingo.
Yes.
I've seen other people try to imitate it, but they cannot duplicate it. But it is really an amazing event. Tell us what that event is.
We're excited. This is with year 3 doing this Designer Bag Bingo. Sherry Pentecost brought this to us from Coleman United Way. They were doing it for 4 years. And it was a thing they started. It started out west, and then it came up this way. And basically, you come out, and we never knew the success would happen. But you have 500 plus women in the Stove House who do it again in Stove House, and they're playing bingo for designer bags. I mean, high level. Queen Bee, she's donating some designer bags. We got Dillard's, places like that. But then also we have significant sponsors that donate money to this cause, and they get recognition. But to see 500 women have a great time and winning designer bags, playing bingo, I would never have thought. But the great part about it is we keep the ticket price, so it's affordable for people. I think we're jumping up to $65 this year, maybe. But people can come in to be a part of it. Some people dress up and nice, but some people just come as you are, but they have a great time. And I think what makes it really cool is the women get to play this game, and WH&T is a real strong supporter. So we'll have probably Ellie Bird again this year to be the MC, and they come out and we have you included, Kenny. You've done it every year we've had. You've been a part of the Celebrity Servers, and you co-chair that with Joe Martin. And to get these men to come out and serve these ladies is pretty cool to see happen. And it's our signature event. And we'll have about 50 men that come out and be a part of this, and they're giving them water and chips and snacks and things like this, and provide extra bingo cards to women, and it's pretty cool to see all these leaders do this and be a part of that. And we're actually adding a twist to it this year as well. We're going to be doing a golf tournament on March 23rd. And as part of that, we'll be launching that, and we'll be working with the golf committee, and in addition to the servers who are raising dollars to give, we'll include this money in that and be able to donate and present a check to the women that night. And all dollars go to quality of life for women and children in our great community. Over 60,000 women and children benefit from this. So it's pretty neat, Kenny. As you know, it's a pretty cool event.
It's very cool. Just get the visual now in your minds, folks. A room here in Huntsville that accommodates 500 seats, all women there for designer bag bingo. Yes. And if you want to make a lady happy, get her a designer bag. Exactly. Or create an event where she can get her own.
Yes.
And this event is just an amazing event, and it is so fun, and everybody's having a good time. Of course, the servers are playfully competing among one another to get the most tips, and tips, of course, are derived from serving the ladies, whatever the water, drinks, and chips and things like that, candy, whatever's given. But it's just a fun night for a great cause, and I hope that everyone listening will do something to be a part of it. You might say, I can't be there. Last year, Daniel, I apologize again. I took a cruise last year at the time of Designer Bag Bingo, and I just left you. But I left my money here too.
Yep, you still sponsored. Yep.
I still made my donation. So that's never the default, folks. Oh, I wish I could be there. No, your money can be there. So exactly. We want you to make that contribution to Designer Bag Bingo. We'll talk more about it on the show. Of course, I'll be posting the link and information, the flyer on my pages, all of my pages, so that you know exactly what to do.
And what's pretty cool about that is you can have fun at an event for United Way. And that's what I tell the team all the time. And, we talk a little bit about United Way, but it's just people having a good time and enjoying themselves. That's the fun part about it, just seeing that happen.
Yeah, and they're there for, like you said, that common purpose. Everybody's in the room for the same reason. It's not really about the bags even. The bags are almost like a backdrop. They're part of the backstory. But everybody's there knowing that they're in this for women and children in this community, which is a tremendous need, and everybody's just there happy to do it, and everybody wins. The organizers win, the donors win, the servers win, the venue wins. I mean, everybody wins. It's just and then the community wins because of that. So it's just a great event. Daniel, it's always great talking to you. Tell people how they can connect with you, the information that we're talking about, website, social media presence, etc.
Yeah, all social media, UW-MadisonCounty.org. Our LinkedIn is United Way Madison County. And then directly with me, you can reach out to my cell phone at 256-468-1801, or you can call the United Way 256-536-0745. There's any way you can get a hold of us. We're here. We will respond. We're responsive and just grateful for this community. I think it's 83 years now we're celebrating, and we're just fortunate to be in this community that long and just try to make a difference. We couldn't do it without you.
Well, Daniel, congratulations as you look ahead to your 4th anniversary in this role. That is just an amazing thing, how time just seems to continue to fly. But I guess that's what happens when you're having a good time.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm grateful. Every day I get the opportunity to be able to serve and enjoy it.
And of course, I want to once again extend my condolences to Julie and your wife, loss of her mom, and let you guys know we're continuing to keep you guys in our thoughts and prayers.
Thanks so much, Kenny. Really grateful for that. Thank you. Thanks for your friendship, man.
Yes, sir, my brother. Love you, man, and I'll talk to you soon.
Take care. Thanks, Kenny.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Daniel Kasambira, the CEO and El Presidente of United Way of Madison County. Great to talk to him this afternoon, and we got some more conversations coming up in just a few moments. I'm going to take a short pause. I'll let you know who you're listening to, and as soon as we do that, we'll be back with our next guest. I'm Kenny Anderson. It's Second Chance. I hope you're having a fantastic afternoon.
You're listening to Second Chance with Kenny Anderson.
Welcome back to the broadcast. Hope you enjoyed my conversation with Daniel Kasambira, the CEO and president of the United Way of Madison County. This, of course, is a great time to think about how you might engage with the United Way, because they've got so many good things going on in the community. And of course, we're grateful for that. We, of course, have United Way Sunday as a series of conversations that we have quarterly. And we will continue to have those conversations as we move throughout the year. Of course, they're welcome to come on anytime at any place. Another segment in our series, quarterly series, is Cadence Bank Presents. And I've actually retitled this with Rod McCall and Theresa Leslie. And they're with us this afternoon. We're so happy to have them here. It's good to see both of them. Rod, how you doing this afternoon, my man?
Doing fine. I'm doing fine, my friend. How about you?
Man, if it gets any better, I'm going to start shouting and dancing and singing and doing all kind of stuff I don't need to be doing at this moment.
I love it. I'm just happy that you can hear me this time. I think the last time I was here, you guys saw me but couldn't hear me. So I said, let me do everything possible to be able to for you guys can hear me. For Theresa and I can share some good stuff that's going on in the market.
Well, listen, Theresa held it down for you, man. But I could tell you had something to share, man. We just couldn't hear it.
Absolutely.
Well, listen, I hope the new year's been good to you thus far. Theresa, how are you doing? And Happy New Year to you.
Hey, Kenny, Happy New Year to you. I'm doing great. I'm doing fine. I have no real complaints.
Good. I'm going to ask you guys the same thing I've been asking all my guests. What does the transition of a new year mean to you? I'll start with you, Theresa.
Anytime I roll into January, I always start with new beginnings. I'm not a pledge person to make a lot of pledges because I don't like letting myself down. I just make my covenant with God all over again and ask him to keep me like he has done in the past. That's all I can hope for.
Yeah, well, look, if we made it over the course road, off the finish line, and the opportunity to just see another year is a huge thing. So I appreciate you sharing that. Rod, what about you as you transition into a new year? What goes through your mind?
I tell you, I kind of do similar to what Theresa say. I focus on a couple of things, the body, the mind, the spiritual. So really, I just look at what did I accomplish in 2025, and what are my particular goals for 2026. So I look at, like I said earlier, the physical, I look at the financial, and I look at the spiritual, and I say, how can I make sure I'm fit in all those particular categories? And then I'm a guy who loves to learn. So you add a couple of books to that as well to excite the mind a little bit. And for me, that's pretty much what I try to do to get myself excited about 2026. So I'm really excited about this year. I think for a lot of people, and that this is going to be an amazing year for people who have some particular goals in mind.
Well, we certainly hope so, and that's why we have you guys come on. And Cadence Bank Presents, of course, has been with us since the inception of these quarterly segments, and we're very grateful for that. And I was just telling Rod, Theresa, before you came on there, that I've kind of rebranded the segment Cadence Bank Presents with Rod McCall and Theresa Leslie, so that we can make sure we are affirming the fact that you guys continue to show up consistently. And I'm grateful for that. Rod is VP of Mortgage, VP Mortgage Division Manager with Community Development for Cadence Bank. And Theresa is a Mortgage Loan Officer with Community Development Lending Office with Cadence Bank. And I'm so glad to have them here every time they come because they provide great context and information for us about a lot of things within the banking world that you can be mindful about. And of course, as we enter a brand new year, and we approach it with so much enthusiasm and excitement, we also acknowledge the fact that there are a lot of economic challenges right now that a lot of people are going through at this time. And we've done a lot of talk about home buying and when to buy and how to approach the buying process and what's the first step in purchasing that new home. But we always like to take the temperature of the landscape as well to find out what's going on out there that people might want to be thinking about as they move into 2026. I'm start with Rod.
Well, Kenny, it kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier. I tell people the one thing you want to do in order to be comfortable in your own skin, you have to ask yourself, am I fit? So, for example, let's say we just focus on being financially fit. I tell people there's a lot of material and also links that you can really go to that will really walk you through how to put a budget together. Because again, before you start talking about home ownership, you just want to make sure that you're comfortable, right? In terms of making sure that you have enough income coming in to pay your bills. Because let's be realistic here. For a lot of people, this has been a challenging 6 months to 12 months. And so sometimes you have to regroup and say, okay, let me look at my income and see, is my income enough to support my current bill? If it is, do I have the ability to have a rainy day fund? Then once you get to the rainy day fund, then you ask yourself, do I need shelter, or is it an opportunity for me to invest in a home and allow me to go to the next level? Because like I tell people, sometimes you just need shelter. But sometimes you have the ability, based on being financially fit, to go to the next level. And that's when you look at home ownership as an investment you just happen to live in, which is the one that gets me the most excited, because that's when it can change your life and change the generations after you, in terms of if you're able to make the next step. So again, Kenny, it's just that basic. Obviously, whenever I talk about finance, I also talk about physically fit, because you can have your finances in order, but if you're not physically fit, you're not going to want to move forward as well. So here at Cadence, we like to talk about both of those things, believe it or not, when it comes to the new year. And that's the reason why in a lot of markets, we do exercises with we offer free exercise classes. And people say, why is the bank doing that? Because we believe in being physically fit and financially fit. They go hand in hand. And when you work on those two things, the next is the mind. So, but again, those are some of the things that we're doing to excite people about this year and to help folks get more focus on the financials. Because again, we understand the year that has been for a lot of people, but there's a lot of great products out there. There's a lot of good material out there. And then with AI technology, man, I've been trying some of that stuff out. And you can plug some information in, it'll give you a budget that's so impressive that you're like, oh my gosh, where this stuff been all my life? So again, Ken, just a lot of good stuff out there for people.
Man, let me tell you, you said a mouthful, man. And I almost don't know where to start. I'm coming to Theresa in a second, but I do want to follow up on a couple of quick things.
Absolutely.
Man, I love that whole body approach to this conversation. You know, we first of all start acknowledging, you know, the necessity to have God as the foundation and rock and depending on him. And we talked about the financial accountability and the opportunities that might be created from that, fiscal responsibilities that are aligned with that as well. Because as one of my guests said last week, he said, you know, once your health goes, there's no other priority at that moment. You know, I don't care what's happening in your life, you know, once your health goes. And so it's important for us to have that total holistic mindset in that process. I love that. And then you threw AI in there, which is something that is just every time I do something with AI, I'm like, wait a minute. I kind of look over my shoulder. I'm like, wait a minute. Because it's sort of like, yeah, how'd you know that? You know, and
absolutely,
it's an interesting thing that is developing, emerging. But Theresa, what about you and your thoughts on just the landscape right now in terms of moving into the home buying market and what people are perhaps going to run into?
So one thing I want to talk about are resources. So a lot of people are hesitant to get in the game because they don't feel like they have the money or, you know, the credit is not there or they're just not ready. They're not prepared. And I want you to know that there are resources available. One in particular that I'm going to mention, we just closed our first City of Huntsville Hope program. And we used grant money to help this borrower. It was a game changer for her. This money came in and helped cover her down payment along with her closing costs. So it gave up to 2% of the purchase price, $18,000. And she did, all she had to come to the table with, Kenny, was $500. And there you have it. And it's not,
share with people what that is, because a lot of people would not know what that is who are listening this afternoon. Just generally tell them what is that this person benefited from.
Okay. So what it is a grant. You do not have to pay it back as long as you occupy the property for an X number of years. I think it's 5. It is a silent second, so it goes behind your first mortgage, but it's free money that's given to you to help cover your costs for the transaction. You do have to be a first-time home buyer. There is a median income cap, but for one person, you're looking at $64,000. So it's not low. It's in there. it will go up to $25,000, $24,999 to be specific. But it's a great opportunity for someone coming in who just does not have that 401k that they can liquidate, or they just don't have a gift from a family member that they can come to the table with. Here's a way that you can make it happy with $500 out of your pocket.
And Kenny, just to piggyback off of what Theresa's saying, part of being financially fit, anytime we can get you into the home, right, and make the payment more affordable, but most importantly, allow you to keep funds in your account for a rainy day fund, because no one lives a perfect life. I was just talking about, hey, what happens if you have a physical issue and then all of a sudden you got to go to the hospital and you got expenses. The fact that we allow you to close on a home and keep those resources for issues that could come up or for celebrations that can come up. Maybe you want to go to school. You ever thought about that? And instead of putting down $5,000 and $10,000 or whatever, that money gets to stay in your pocket and makes the transition easy. And that's the key, Kenny. We want the transition to be easy from you not being a homeowner to being a homeowner, because that's what we hear the most about. Too many people on the fence because they're nervous about, man, I got to get a lawnmower and cut the grass, and I don't have the extra money. I just did everything I could to get into the home. So when we can put you in a product or offer down payment assistance that make that process a whole lot better for people, then that gets us excited. And as you can tell by my voice, I get excited because if you look at the bells and whistles around that closing, and that person probably thought they couldn't buy a home at this time because they still was hearing rates were up. And then we showed them a product that the rate is pretty affordable. Then we, on top of that, gave them money that made that payment even less. Then on top of that, they came to the closing with $500 out of pocket. Man, that's something to celebrate. And I love it for the Huntsville market because that market is on fire. We get calls from people calling all the time, relocating to the market. They're thinking, man, I may have to wait a year or two, and they're buying homes. We got college kids who are graduating. All they got in their hand, Kenny, is an offer letter. And we have structured a loan program for a person who just graduated, never had a job in their life. And because they got an offer letter and they're going to start their job in the next 60 days, they were able to close up front before they even started their first job. And in one case, the person actually didn't have a credit score. So no credit score, never worked in their life. All they have is a job offer, and we got that loan closed. The reason why it happened, because they got off the fence, made a phone call. Theresa, myself, and all the loan officers in Huntsville, hey, we're not here to pass judgment. We're here to figure out a way to, if you want to be a homeowner, how can we make that happen so that it can be a life-changing event for you and your family?
And program,
go ahead, Theresa.
This program for this young lady really was a game changer. She had been trying for over a year to purchase a home, and someone sent her to me. And we were able to get it worked out for her in about 60 days. So it works. There are resources out there. You just have to know where to go grab them and tap into them.
You know, every time Theresa says somebody sent them to her, we got to let her give that number, because her number is going to now start ringing off the hook for the rest of the show. And that's okay.
It is.
You can answer the phone during the show, but right after the show, leave that message and that number, and she'll get right back to you. Theresa, what's that number?
256-337-9636. You can call me. You can text me. Or if you want to send an email, it's Theresa. Well, go to my website. That's the best way to do it. TheresaLeslie.com. Theresa with an H.
All right, great. And it's important that people know that too, because I know people are really excited. I mean, if they really heard what you just said, they're very excited. I mean, and all ages of people should be excited. People in all kinds of different situations should be excited to know that there really are processes that neutralize the fear of home ownership,
right?
Because there are practical things in place that can connect the person to the opportunity. But there's another group of people I want to talk about right now for just a few moments. I just want to, not that we haven't been keeping it real, but I really want to keep it real for a moment. These are some challenging economic times for a lot of people. We've seen the statistics. 300,000 Black women have lost their jobs since last February. We see a lot of people who are in the valley of decision because they're not quite sure if they're going to be able to continue to keep their job. We see a lot of transition in the workforce, and we see unemployment rates ticking up a little bit in some areas. So just talk to me a little bit about just people who might be in that particular space who are saying, look, I got a very real reason for not doing the home ownership thing right now. It's not even really fear. It's the practicality of what I'm seeing in this very volatile market. And I'm not the housing market. I'm talking about the economy itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ken, you make a great point. That's why I was saying earlier that, you know, Theresa and I are, you know, we live every day in the community. We go to the grocery stores. We attend the same type of churches and so forth. We volunteer the same nonprofits. You're going to see us in the community, right? So the first thing we do is try to make ourselves available and be great listeners. We understand that situations happen. I think I said earlier, no one lives a perfect life. No one goes through a perfect life. There are ups and downs, but the greatest gift that we can give is to know that you have not only a banker, but a friend in essence who will be with you throughout that process. So yes, Ken, we have conversations with folks, and sometimes it's just a conversation of uplift. They want to know, you know what? I've been through this. I've been through a bankruptcy. I've been through a foreclosure. I lost my job and my car got repossessed. And sometimes the conversation is as simple as, hey, I know folks who are hiring. Let me refer you on to these people. Sometimes the conversation on, hey, we all go through stuff, but let me tell you some small things you can do to get your credit to rebound. Or it could be as simple as, you know what? I've got a new job now. What's the next step if I want to buy a home in 6 months or 12 months? Sometimes it's not now because they just need shelter. And maybe temporarily they go to an apartment. But that doesn't mean we can't sit down and get them a game plan for the next 90 days, the next 6 months, or next year. And I think that has been the greatest thing that we've been able to do is be great listeners. And then based on the listening, what products do we have that can make life easier for a lot of people? I'm just not a mortgage lender. I'm a guy that can, hey, if you want to open up a checking account or a savings account, we got resources. If you want to talk to someone about retirement accounts, we got somebody that can help you with that as well. And so because we are a full service bank with a multitude of different products, we've been fortunate enough and blessed enough that whatever the conversation is, we feel like we can add value to what's going on in that person's life, Kenny. And that's probably one of the most important things that we like to do is add value as a person who are part of the community. And we want people to do well, but also be a part of a company that has tremendous products that also can help folks rebound at a much faster pace than maybe they'll anticipate it.
I love everything that you said, particularly because at the core of what you said was that we're just not here so that, you know, you are seen as just another customer that, I get rankled by a lot of business people because all I am to them is an invoice. I get an invoice once a month. When I get the invoice, it says, let me be careful. I don't want to call anybody out, but you get the invoice and there's some services that they were supposed to provide, and they'll just kind of say a couple of things. You don't really know what it is because it's their business. But they don't really break anything down. And of course, you can make a phone call if you get through to a real person. So it's like it's a real difficult kind of thing that kind of frustrates people in a time of need. Absolutely. And what you just said, Rod, that I heard you, which should have a lot of people excited once again. So I'm gonna let you give your phone number as well. That is saying, listen, and I might have said this to you all once before, but I had a friend recently that's in the banking industry and said, "Who's your banker?" And I told him who I bank with. And the person said, no, who's your banker? And I stopped for a minute and I was like, whoa, wait a minute now. You got something there. Because who's that person that I can sit down with and talk about my financial needs? Not just my financial investor. I'm talking about the person at the bank, because that should be a bi-directional relationship, not just a transactional relationship. Yep. And so I love what you just said, Rod. Theresa, I know you wanted to say something.
So, to your point, I actually had a customer back in October when the government did the shutdown. Hard in, under contract, ready to go on her home, but her job, went under. And so she pulled the plug on it. She has kept up with me throughout the months, and just reached back out to me a week or so ago and said she's ready to get started again. So like Rod said, we're not just, we're here to help you. We're here to hold your hand. We understand life happens. It happens to all of us. And so we understand, we get it. Again, resources. If we can't, if maybe now is just not the time for you, we can find availability somewhere, get you set up, get you going, get you situated. So yeah, we try and hit on all points when customers come in.
Well, see, that's why this segment is called Cadence Bank Presents with Rod McCall and Theresa Alessi, because they are your go-to people. And if you don't go to them, folks, then it won't be any opportunity to experience your own personal journey and your desires to be able to do the kinds of things that everybody wants to do, which is have a good, financially secure life and perhaps home ownership. Rod, how do people reach you?
Absolutely, Kenny. As I told you before, Kenny, being Rod McCall, I always tell people I'm just a McCall away. And my cell number is 205-835-3966. Again, my cell number is 205-835-3966. Or you can contact any Cadence employee. They will put you in contact with me. I think, Kenny, that's the easiest way to reach out. You can text me as well. And again, let's start the process of a conversation. If you have an opportunity to be financially fit, regardless of if you're trying to buy a car, you're trying to buy a home, you just want some information on retirement, regardless of what it is, I'm just a McCall away. And Kenny, we, as always, really appreciate the opportunity to have this conversation with you and your audience.
Well, we'll give Rod another 7 minutes before you start making that call, because I got a couple of more things I got to finish up here with Rod and Theresa. You got the number now, folks? You make sure you call them about 6.5 minutes. All right. Just briefly, and we do have about 7 minutes, but just briefly, 2026, the year of home ownership.
Yep.
That family is sitting back right now. They're thinking about it. They're trying to figure out what the strategy is. Just give me a summary of what maybe first 2 or 3 steps that they'll need to take this year.
Okay.
I highly recommend attending a home ownership class. So we teach classes. We try and teach them. I actually got one coming up this month, and I'll get the information to you, Kenny. Okay. I'm collaborating with Quentin Young with the Huntsville Housing Authority. And so come in, see what it's all about. So you won't be, how you go buy a car and you sticker shock. When people come in my office, sometimes they seem sticker shock because this process is so different than anything you experience when you're buying. Buying a home is not like buying a car. So I highly recommend getting involved, come out and get some information, learn about home ownership, learn about the whole overview of the whole program. So you'll go in the know and you better prepare yourself for it. You won't go in anxious and because a lot of people are excited and anxious and they see their friends doing it, but they don't really quite understand what it is. So I would suggest, and give me a call. I can get you some links to some classes that are going on. If it's not Cadence teaching one, it could be someone else that's teaching the class, but especially if you're a first-time home buyer. Other than that, just call us and we'll get you set up. We'll get you started.
I love the idea about education. I think that's so critical in the process, because the other unique thing I think about the home buyership process that's different from buying a car is that the education process never stops. It's like, you've got a 25, 30-year mortgage or whatever you have. And, the house is going to get older. You're going to have maybe start out with a warranty of one type or another. Things are going to transition. Things are going to change. Maybe you start out with one insurance company. Maybe you've gone to another. Maybe things will happen. You have to replace this, that, and the other. You kind of learn things along the way, and so it's constantly an education process. That's what I loved about what you just said.
You're the landlord. That's correct.
Yeah, it's like owning a home. You've got to be a lifelong learner because there's always something to learn. There's always something that's going to happen. Even working with contractors, there's something to learn, and so it's a never-ending process. I love what you said, Theresa. Rod?
Hey, I just want to add, Kenny, here's the one thing I would tell people: make sure you do. I don't care who you're talking to at Cadence or any other lender. I want you to do one thing, and that is get pre-approved. What pre-approval is a review of your credit, is a review of your income, your debt, your assets, and that person is going to walk you through the process from application to closing of what your experience is going to be. Now, once you get pre-approved, there's two things I want to make sure you get from that person. I want you to get a pre-approval letter for the amount of house or range that you're looking at. Let's say you go in there and the person said, "Whoa, you have the ability to qualify for up to 300,000," but you say, "I'm only comfortable with 150 or 200,000." Ask them for a loan estimate, stating and showing how your loan is structured. If it has down payment assistance, it's going to be on there. If it has, they're going to give you an estimated rate. They're going to give you an estimated payment, because we don't want you guessing about what your monthly payment will look like or how your loan is structured and what you need to bring to the closing table. So a loan estimate. The second thing I want you to get is a pre-approval letter in your hand. And that pre-approval letter is going to validate that your loan credit and assets and income has been looked at and has been validated. Too often we have people having conversations, but they don't give the documentation over to the lender for things to be validated. And Kenneth, the worst thing a person can do is spend money and resources driving around town looking for their dream home, put under contract for that dream home, and then only to be told 2 weeks later, when that loan goes into process, that, "Oh, by the way, we just got your pay stubs and you don't work the 40 hours, you work 35 hours because you have to leave once a week to pick up your child." Well, we want to make sure that if we gave you a pre-approval letter, there's some substance behind it so that you're not wasting your time, and that we come across as financial advisors who are helping you stay financially fit or become financially fit. And the best way to do that, Kenny, is with the hard facts. And that's the most important thing I can say, to get pre-approval letter and a loan estimate. If you don't get it, run. Find your lender who will do it for you.
That sounds like some good advice. Put your track shoes on and run.
Run.
We've been talking this afternoon with Rod McCall and Theresa Leslie. They are two stellar representatives of Cadence Bank. They join us quarterly. I'm just going to say you'll join us quarterly. I mean, I'll see you 4 times this year, I guess. And each time they come on, they have some really good information to share. But this segment is called Cadence Bank Presents with Rod McCall and Theresa Leslie. Rod is a vice president at the bank, mortgage division manager, community development. Theresa is a community development lending mortgage loan officer. And so we're always glad to have them come on and talk about these things. And I'm always just inspired at the fact that you guys have such great information that just kind of says, just make a phone call, just go to a web page, check us out on social media site, and follow through with what you see. And if you do so, everything will be all right. So just as we close, one more time, let people know how they can reach out to you. I'll start with Rod.
Once again, Kenny, my cell number is 205-835-3966. I'm just a call away. Again, 205-835-3966.
All right, just a call away. I love it.
My cell is 256-337-9636. And my website is theresaleslie.com, with Theresa with an H.
All right, Theresa, the phone, you guys are ready to call now.
I thank you in advance for calling me.
Listen, I don't care where they are. They will answer your phone, folks, or your call if you call them, and they will absolutely provide the support that you need in this journey. Don't be intimidated by what you've heard. Don't be intimidated by what you may see, experienced by other people. Think for yourself and understand that this is an opportunity that still represents the best possibility for generational transition of wealth.
Right.
Home ownership, number one. And
Yes.
It's unfortunate they don't teach that more in school, in college, even before college, in high school. I know people have programs, I get that, but we really teach a whole lot of other stuff, and we need to be teaching more about that.
Kenny, you're right on point. I wish that was a curriculum in high school, actually in middle school, because you can buy a house at 19 years old. And there are too many people who are working at 16 and 17, 18, Imagine instead of thinking about getting an apartment, you think about buying a home. Most of the time, based on the average income of a 19-year-old or 20-year-old after they've been working for 2 years, imagine they take that income and buy their first home. Maybe it's $150,000 home, but then about 3 or 4 years, that house is sold for $200,000. Now you got a nest egg. You got a rainy day fund that at 22 and 23 years old. Can you imagine if I bought a home at 19, then I bought one at 25, then I bought one at 30, then I bought one at 40? Guess what? You went through 4 homes. You probably been accumulated hundreds of thousands of dollars, and now you got something to fall back. If I knew that then, Kenny.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Same here. So we'll keep spreading the gospel of Cadence Bank, and it's great information that you share. Rod and Theresa, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, my friend. Thanks very much. Enjoyed it.
All right. Take care. Rod McCall is Vice President of Mortgage Division Manager, or I should say Vice President Mortgage Division Manager, Community Lending, and Theresa Leslie is Mortgage Loan Officer, Community Development Lending for Cadence Bank. And we're just so grateful and happy to have them on the broadcast. Of course, they come on quarterly to be able to share information, context, and perspective on a variety of things related to finances and banking. And we're grateful that they're able to do that. Another quarterly segment that we started several years ago is Service and Valor with Captain Washington Johnson II. He, of course, is not just a friend, but also a veteran, as well as someone who is currently serving as the Director of Chaplaincy for the North American Division of Seventh-day Adventists. And we're always glad to have him on the broadcast, and we're always glad to have him because he always brings great guests with him. So first of all, I want to say to him, hello, good afternoon, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. It's a privilege to be with you, and I just thank God for the many blessings he's given to all of us.
He certainly has. And, I take note of that on a regular basis. My previous guest and I were talking about just the transition from one year to the next. And I'll ask you as well, what is your thought about the transition from 1 year to a new year?
Well, it's exciting. New beginnings, new challenges, opportunities, but also you can learn from the past. And I love what Isaiah said. Behold, I will do a new thing. And I'm looking for some great things in 2026.
Well, 11 days in, we already are doing some good things. And so we're just going to keep doing even more. And I'm excited to have you. Captain Jerome Davis is here with me one more time. And of course, he's going to be a regular mainstay on the broadcast. I understand you're going to be with me several times this year. And of course, that's why I said my 26 is starting off on the right foot. How are you doing this afternoon, sir?
Kenny, great. Happy New Year. I hope all is well with you and your family and that you guys had a wonderful holiday season.
It has been an extraordinary holiday season. I'll ask you the same question. Your thoughts about the transition from 1 year to a new year?
Well, as Washington says, it's always a blessing to make it to another year, particularly those of us that are now in the category known as senior citizen. Every year we make is a good one.
Absolutely. Well, let me share with people who may not have seen you on the broadcast before who I'm talking to. Captain Davis is the former Maritime Administration's Office of Sealift Support under the Office of the Associate Administrator for Strategic Sealift. He retired from federal civil service in 2015. He began his career with the Maritime Administration in 1989, and he has worked in a variety of different arenas. As a consequence of that, he has, of course, tremendous academic accomplishments from a variety of institutions of higher education. He's also been a writer, and he's written for such publications as the Washington Afro-American newspaper, one of my favorite newspapers, being a native New Yorker, the New York Amsterdam News. Man, I love that. That's a throwback for sure. And he's been featured in many publications as well, and we're so happy to have him back once again. Looking forward to our conversations over the next few months. Gentlemen, it's exciting, I know, for you all, that the United States will commemorate its 250th anniversary this year. I remember the bicentennial, actually, as I start talking about New York City and all that was happening back then, and even around the world, around the country. as a consequence of the bicentennial and all the excitement leading up to that. Granted, I think there's a different kind of vibe this year with this in mind, which is kind of interesting. I want to kind of talk to you guys a little bit about that at some point. But just generally, as we approach this 250th commemoration, I just wonder what your thoughts are generally. Captain Davis, I'm going to start with you.
Okay, Kenny, thank you. My thoughts are that in America, America has always had an extreme sense of dichotomy, in the sense that America did not start off as a free nation for many people in America. These so-called liberties and free rights that we have were not always given, and particularly for African Americans. These are rights that we had to gain over basically 2-3 centuries. I think it took a long time for African Americans to be considered citizens in this country, with full citizenship rights. Let me rephrase that. And you're looking at, we've only had, Kenny, when you think about it, we've only had for African Americans and I guess many other minorities, we really only had about 60 years of democracy in America, starting with the 64 Civil Rights Act and the 65 Voting Rights Act. It was those acts that allowed us to be able to have full participation in America. Prior to that, we were in a segregated Jim Crow America. And that was for the bulk of the time we were in this country. So this whole, what we call freedom thing that we have now, particularly for African Americans, and I would say for other minorities, and even to women, particularly white women to some extent, is relatively new, right? Yeah. So it's great to get to 250, but we still got a long way to go in this country, because we still have racism that's fundamentally in the roots of this country. Mm-hmm. And it's taken us a long time to root all of that out. And right now we're in a period of what I would call backlash, where we're trying to go backwards instead of going forward. Mm-hmm. So we still got a lot of work to do, and as I was saying to a young college student earlier today at lunch, freedom is not free. Freedom is what you earn. All right. And that has been the mission, particularly of African Americans. And it was the mission of the subject that we're going to talk about today and in the future. All right. Yeah. That we were the ones that made America a democracy. All right.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Captain Johnson, generally your thoughts about this 250th commemoration that we're approaching.
I think it's an awesome time for this nation to remember the past. But also, as we look at the past, we must remember those that played a very integral part. And it appears that some may attempt to erase this history, but during this segment, we want to talk about those brave men and women that fought to make America what it is today. And there were over 8,000 African Americans that took part on the side of the Americans during the Revolutionary War, and over 20,000 fought on the side of the British. And there's a lot that we can really learn from them, their dedication and commitment. They were fighting for their freedom. And of course, many did not receive that freedom afterwards, after being promised freedom. So I'm looking forward to it today. Some exciting facts and history that all of us need to know as we celebrate the 250th anniversary of this nation.
Yeah, thank you for that. And of course, we're going to, through your leadership and vision, we're going to have an opportunity to talk about several stages of how the U.S. Military has responded in a variety of ways, and the relationship between Blacks in this nation with the military. And as you both have suggested, the incredibly important experience of never forgetting them and acknowledging them, regardless of what things are being done to erase this or distract that. In fact, I always tell people most of what's happening is a distraction, because you can't erase what's in your heart. I know who I am and where I've come from. I know part of the challenge is a lot of people don't. And that, of course, is unfortunate. But the greater threat to me, in one sense, is that we just stop talking about these things, that we just give in and surrender and say, it's not important to talk about these things. No, it is important to talk about these things. And I'm glad you all are here to do that. Captain Johnson, you referenced the American Revolution. You did also, Captain Davis. I want to just give a short preface here. During the American Revolution, both the British and American forces made promises about freedom to enslaved blacks on both sides of the process. Many of those promises were not kept. We're looking forward to really understanding the participation of Black soldiers in this conflict and the lessons that we can learn and that have been sustained even to this day as a consequence of that. Captain Davis, I'm going to let you start by just basically reflecting once again on this moment in history, the American Revolution, in the context of the 250th commemoration that we're approaching right now, and then kind of see that as bookends in one sense, because that was the beginning, this is now, and talk a little bit about that in terms of the Black participation in the American Revolution.
Well, you know, Kenny, the American Revolution, or as they claim, the fight for independence, was never about independence and freedom for Black folks. All right, the American Revolution was, as a famous comedian, I believe George Carlin. I don't know if you remember George Carlin.
Oh yeah.
He once said, "Yeah, it was strange that you had slaveholders fighting for freedom." That's what the American Revolution was: slaveholders fighting for freedom. And so the thing is that when you look at, you know, what caused the American Revolution and you know, the drive by colonials here in the United States, that were, because, you know, what we consider to be the United States was actually part of the British Empire. Mm-hmm. And so because of, you know, various tax acts and stuff like that, I think I mentioned like in a previous paper, Stamp Act, the Townshend Act, these type of acts drove business people and some of the common people inside colonial America to decide to strike for independence because they realized they did not have representation. All right. Mm-hmm. Now, representation is a funny thing, because when they were fighting for representation, the last thing they wanted to do was provide representation for Black people in America, because the majority of Black people in America just happened to be slaves. All right. And so the last thing that in all of these states, if I recall, Kenny, I believe every single state, the 13 colonies, every one of them at the time of the American Revolution had some degree of slavery. Okay. So there was no, you know, real drive for the most part to end slavery and definitely to give Black folks rights. So this was a independence movement essentially for white men, because, you know, again, there was no independence movement for Native Americans because we were actually stealing Native American land. So, and we definitely weren't looking at independence for women, because women, for the most part, weren't even allowed to own property, let alone vote. So, so this was a white male independence movement, particularly white males that had property and money, and that's how they set up the country once they were able to break away from England and get the English government to go ahead and allow the country to go ahead, allow the colonists to go ahead and form their own country. Yeah. So that's the issue that we're talking about here today. Yeah. Now, in this so-called battle for independence, you know, we did have some Black folks participate in this. All right. Now, what is I guess ironic about this is that as they started this independence movement, the last thing they wanted, I'm talking about the colonials, the last thing they wanted was for African Americans to be participating in this process. George Washington and many of the leaders of this independent movement had to be dragged into it. All right. And because the British early on realized that if we want to try to stem this, what we'll just do is offer these slaves some degree of freedom. So when you look at this independence movement, the American independence movement, the overwhelming majority of African Americans fought and supported the British. We have anywhere, like Washington say, maybe somewhere between 5,000 and 8,000 that may have fought for the colonials, but the overwhelming majority of African Americans that participated in this evolution supported the British. All right, because the British offered freedom for joining their effort. All right? And when the British ended up leaving, they took 20,000 African Americans with them and deposited them in places like Newfoundland and in the Caribbean and then also in a place that we all familiar with, an African country known as Sierra Leone.
Mm.
All right.
Mm.
So,
Mhm.
so yeah, so that's what you're looking at now in this battle. The African Americans that did participate and fought with the colonials that eventually won this war, we had some superhero efforts done by African Americans, as we always do, as we've always had.
Mhm.
So the thing is that those folks did some great things, and and we start off by this whole effort and evolution with the so-called Boston Massacre. Remember, the first person to take the bullet and die was an African American, Crispus Attucks.
That's us.
Yeah, Crispus took the first bullet. That's back to the irony about the whole thing.
Mhm.
The first
Mhm.
guy to take the bullet was a runaway slave
Mm.
that was
Mm.
fighting for rights, and he took the first bullet. All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
A true patriot.
Yeah.
True patriot and whatnot like that. And if I recall, there's a statue in Boston for Crispus Attucks. But the thing is that, but if you talk to the average American, they probably couldn't tell you who Crispus Attucks was.
Yeah.
Or that they didn't know that the first person to die in this so-called battle for independence was an
Which
African
is
American.
with that, and that's so sad to me when I think about that, because if you're going to have any accurate reflection of history, and it includes common knowledge that everybody knows, but yet it is relegated to kind of a subtext of the whole story, and then many people who know about it don't talk about it, and many people who should know about it don't know about it. That's tragic to me. It not only did this nation begin on the premise of a group of people who came here and took land from indigenous people, but then the war for independence of those people from the people that they came from now begins with the death of a black man who's been enslaved. And yet he becomes just a footnote in history. And I think that's so sad.
Right. But Kenny, when you started the nation off on a white supremacy racist front, that's what you get. You can't start off by saying the first real hero was an African American.
Yeah.
Because the hero has to be, and rightfully so, he is a hero in the founding of the country, about George Washington and the so-called founding fathers.
Right.
But you would have to acknowledge the fact that one of the major events that triggered this whole thing was that killing of a guy by the name of Crispus Attucks and several other white guys that got killed along with him.
Right.
The thing is the idea that the first guy to die that started the American Revolution was a black guy.
Yeah.
Is like I say, it's historic, but it's also ironic because we refuse to provide the appropriate acknowledgement of that person.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, those of us that study history know the person. But if you, like I said, if you went to the average American and said, who's Crispus Attucks, they wouldn't have a clue who you're talking about.
They would know. Yeah.
They wouldn't know. And also, Kenny, there are two facts I think are important. All colonies had to send a quota of men to serve in the Continental Army. And white men hired black men to take their places. However, in the South, they were hesitant about arming black slaves. And also, about 100% of the Rhode Island militia was made up of black men. And that's something, Jerome, that in the history books, you're not going to hear.
Yeah, there's a famous Rhode Island regiment that Washington that was all black. All right. It wasn't all of Rhode Island. It was just the black regiment of Rhode Island. All right. And that thing is that, but that's not unusual. As I was saying to Washington last week when we were having an initial discussion on this, that every war that we've had in America up until I want to say maybe the Korean War, all right, the white American community did not want African Americans to participate in those battles, in the war. All right, they had to come to us when they needed manpower. It started with the American Revolution. It went all the way through World War II, where they did not want African Americans to participate in the war. All right. But when they ran into manpower shortages, they had to call us, and then we served heroically and made a difference. All right. And this view started with the American Revolution. All right. And the thing is that you know, because again, Kenny, just to go on point, if you went to the average American and said something like 5,000 African Americans fought for the colonials in establishing the country that we know as the United States, most people would be surprised at that. Because when they look at movies and stuff like that, and you looking at these colonial battles, they're not showing black people.
Yeah.
And statues also throughout New England.
Right. And statues, they're not showing black people. And black people fought in almost all of these major battles that we had. Yorktown, Saratoga, all of these key battles.
Lexington and Concord.
Right.
Yeah.
Every one of them. Every one of them. The thing is that, and I'm talking about every one of them on both sides. For the United States, for the British and the so-called colonials.
Yeah.
Because remember, when the colonials were fighting for much of the war, there was no such thing as the United States. All right. Yeah, the United States didn't come online as we know as a country until about 1783 or something like that. These guys were fighting for independence, but they had no, what do I call it? I guess official name, because they were still part of the British Empire. All right. So once that the United States came online and the battle continued to go forward, all right. Well, this is why 1776 is crucial, because 1776, which is where we had the Declaration of Independence. Well, there's a reason why we had a Declaration of Independence in 1776 instead of 1770 or 1772. Is because in 1776 is when the colonial forces, military forces, were able to take full control of the 13 colonies. All right. Once they got full control of the 13 colonies militarily, then they were able to declare independence. All right. And that's why, and the date that they did that, I believe, was 4 July, 1776. All right. And you'd mentioned that the bicentennial, remember we celebrated the bicentennial back in 1976. Right. For those of us that are old enough, Washington may not be old enough to remember.
I remember. I was. Thank you for the compliment.
Right. For those of us that were around in 76, we remember.
Let me ask y'all. Let's see. I've got really about 6 minutes, so maybe a word or two from each of you on this. The reality for many Black people in the United States will be that this 250th commemoration will be a bit of a conflict for some of them, and it will be almost, like Frederick Douglass's declaration of what is February, what is July 4th
July, right,
to the slave, right? How might people approach this commemoration? How might Black people approach this commemoration in a way that is able to honor the sacrifices of these Black heroes?
Well, I would say this here, Kenny. What I tell folks is that this is important for us because we helped develop this country. There is no such thing as a United States of America without African Americans. All right. We're entitled to all the fruits of America. So the thing is so for us, it's important that we acknowledge that. We never forget that we were key cogs in this development of this nation. All right. This nation, wealth was built on the backs of African American people. All right. This nation sustained itself through Jim Crow labor and all kind of things long after the American Revolution, that it was able to do that. And thus, so African Americans, what we have to do is we understand the racist history of the country, but also we help develop this country. All right. We as I stated earlier, we are the ones, for the most part, that brought real democracy to America. And so we have a lot to be proud of because we were the ones that changed this nation and made this nation, a better nation than what it was. All right. And so we hear these things about, you know, how great America was in 1940 and whatnot like that. We all know that's a bunch of nonsense. All right. Because if you were white male, obviously it was a great place. But if you was anything else, it was less than stellar. So the thing is that these last 60 plus years or so has been the real blossoming of America as far as freedom and independence. And we've been able to take advantage of that. There's a reason why me, you, and Washington are on this. We're all college graduates, which my grandmother, the highest grade she could get in a little small town in Louisiana was 8th grade.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And it took those courageous efforts by all those folks in the civil rights movement and a long 200, 300 year history of our presence on this continent in this particular segment of the continent that has allowed us to get to this point. All right. And as you know, people are trying to turn the clock back on this.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's part of the story as well. Captain Johnson, I'm going to give you the last couple of minutes to make a comment on that question.
Well, first of all, Ken, I want to thank you for allowing Captain Davis to join us today and for you giving us this platform to share this history. And I hope that young people will listen to this program and be proud of their history. And that's what we must do. Every media platform, we must use it to share the history of African Americans. We have been blessed as a nation because of the blood, sweat, and tears of those that took that long passage from Africa to a different land. They learned to sing the Lord's song in a strange land. And also, I feel that it is very, very important to remember the past because it is the springboard to the future. We cannot be ashamed of it. We cannot hide it. And we would not do that, nor can we let others rewrite our history to fit what they have believed that was wrong from the beginning. And as I said to Jerome last night, the pendulum of justice is going to swing in our favor because God led us through challenging times. Our next segment, we're going to deal with the American Civil War. Again, how African Americans played a vital role. So I'm excited and thank you for this platform to educate people, especially our young boys and girls, about the past so that they can embrace the future, knowing that a better day is yet to come.
Amen. Captain Washington.
Christ shall return. Amen. I wanted to preach. I'm sorry.
No. We're just going to say amen. And thank you for being here today.
My privilege.
Captain Washington Johnson II, Captain Jerome Davis, both retired veterans now. We're just so happy that they can be here in our presence and be able to share the history of our country, all of the history of our country in places like this. It's really up to us, folks, regardless of what the threats are against this whole notion of, turning back time and suppressing this information or destroying that information. We need to tell what we know, and we need to continue to do that. And I'll continue to use this platform as a place to elevate these voices so that people will know. Gentlemen, thank you so much for a great conversation, and I'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you, Kenny. God bless. You. Happy New Year.
God bless you.
Happy New Year to both of you.
Thank you.
All right. Great way to end our broadcast today, folks. And what an amazing broadcast we had today. We started out with Drake State Presents Perspectives in Higher Education with Dr. Patricia Sims and Dean Doug Brazier, the Dean of the Workforce Development Initiative out there. We're so grateful that he could be here with us today. Daniel Kasambira, the CEO and President of the United Way of Madison County, joining us on this afternoon, along with Cadence Bank Presents with Rod McCall and Theresa Leslie. We're so glad to have them this afternoon. And then finally, Service and Valor with Captain Washington Johnson II, as well as Captain Jerome Davis. We appreciate them being with us on today. On next Sunday, we have our first What's Going On segment of the brand new year. I expect to have my commentators, Dr. Leon Sear, David Person, Reverend Derek Green on the show on next week. We look forward to having great conversation and context about all that's going on in the world today, and I hope that you'll join us at that time. In the meantime, Remember, as always, that knowledge is better than riches. Have a great afternoon, and we'll talk again soon. Good day.
Thank you for tuning in to Second Chance. We hope that the information that was shared has been a blessing to you and that your life will be enriched as a result of it. We'd love to hear from you. So please send your email comments to Kenneth Anderson at mxlife@aol.com. That's mxlife@aol.com. And check out our Facebook page, 2ND Chance. That's 2ND Chance. In the meantime, have a great week, and we'll talk to you again next week. Good day.